Declare it or say it. Without my rifle, I am nothing. These are the words of Drill Instructor Fitch as he extends a warm welcome to the fresh recruits at the USMC Barracks. His words emphasize that within these walls, all are considered equal, regardless of their racial background. During this orientation, he probes Swafford about his family's military history, which ultimately leads to an uncomfortable revelation about Swafford's romantic relationship. The turning point in Swafford's realization that the Marine Corps might not be the right path occurs when he is asked a pointed question. "What brought you here, sir?" In response, he humorously claims to be lost, joking that he was on his way to college. Sent to Camp Pendleton, he's assigned to the 2nd Platoon, hoping to elevate their performance. The recruits play a cruel prank on him with a branding iron, leaving Swafford questioning his enlistment and faking illness. Swafford's upbringing was tough. His father was distant, his sister struggled with mental health, and his mother battled depression. The one beacon in his life was Christina, his devoted girlfriend. She pledged to wait for him faithfully. However, Staff Sergeant Sykes from the Marine Corps disrupted his reflections, offering a chance to become a scout sniper, noting Swafford's intelligence. Swafford was reluctant but agreed to visit a bugle tryout. To his surprise, it was a sniper class. After an embarrassing episode, he bravely chose to stay. Swafford's life was changing, and he declared his presence to Sykes, determined to seize the opportunity. Swafford's transformation began during training, where he embraced his newfound purpose as a sniper, daydreaming about the blood spatter from his shots. A tragic incident shook him, as a recruit panicked, stood up during live fire exercises, and took a fatal bullet. Swafford and 7 others completed their infantry sniper training under Sykes's guidance. Swafford became the shooter while Troy served as the spotter, though Troy longed for the shooter role. The mantra, "Without my rifle, I am nothing," became their creed. As they trained, news of Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait broke, stirring excitement among the Marines. A screening of a Vietnam War movie abruptly halted as the recruits were called to the company area. Eager to put their skills to the test, they prepared for deployment as the U.S. entered the conflict. For Operation Desert Shield, Lieutenant Colonel Kaczynski briefs the Marines, highlighting the threat of Iraqi chemical warfare by showing a disheartening image of a suffering Iranian child. He emphasizes that their mission isn't to kill Iraqis, but to protect Saudi Arabian oil fields, crucial for the world's energy supply. On their way to Camp Kruger, Corporal Swafford stands out for his critical thinking, demonstrating intelligence among his peers. They're here to safeguard oil profits, knowing politics played a role in the conflict. As the 2nd Platoon settles into their new camp, Swafford gazes at his girlfriend's picture, prompting jokes about potential infidelity. Cortez eases tension by sharing a photo of his pregnant wife. Sykes interrupts, ordering them into chemical protective gear for a timed exercise. The daily routine of multiple formations and hydration patrols has begun as they prepare for the challenges of Operation Desert Shield. In the barren desert, soldiers endure monotonous drills, throwing grenades at imaginary threats and navigating phantom minefields before taking breaks to hydrate. Their watchful nights continued as global oil prices surged, prompting President Bush to deploy more troops, swelling their numbers into the hundreds of thousands. After 62 days with the 2nd Platoon, boredom sets in, leading to peculiar pastimes like organizing scorpion fights for wagers. Swafford shares strategies for battling loneliness and monotony, including self-indulgence, rereading letters from unfaithful partners, and rifle maintenance. A wall of shame displays photos of disloyal girlfriends and wives. Swafford's concern for his girlfriend grows, pondering her whereabouts. Journalists arrive, and Sykes instructs them on what to divulge, highlighting the constraints of their military contract over constitutional rights. Journalists interview the soldiers, prompting Swafford to mention his girlfriend, Christina, the sole person he cares about. Sykes showcases NBC suits, making them don the stifling gear for a football game in sweltering 112-degree Fahrenheit heat, taunting them about their parkas. Exhausted and defiant, the Marines rebel, shedding their clothes and unleashing expletives. Sykes hastily guides the reporters away. That night, as punishment for their outburst, Sykes compels the soldiers to construct sandbag pyramids and laugh. Swafford receives his dog tags but is dismayed they don't reflect his preference. A letter from Christina reveals she's met a night manager named Carl, inciting mockery from fellow soldiers about her potential appearance on the Wall of Shame. Kruger offers support, urging Swafford to keep hope alive. Swafford grapples with the contents of Christina's letter for days, tormented by its implications. Finally, he calls her, seeking clarity. Their conversation takes an ominous turn when he mentions Carl. Christina feigns a connection issue and abruptly hangs up, intensifying his anxiety. Nightmares plague his nights. To compound his distress, Swafford receives a videotape from his wife, inviting the guys to watch The Deer Hunter. However, it unveils a painful revelation: his wife's infidelity with their neighbor, her revenge for his past transgressions. Troy consoles him, preventing the Marines from continuing the video. Swafford is left emotionally shattered. As the days progress, the 2nd Platoon's desert patrols continue amidst an ever-growing troop count of 390,000. Swafford's turmoil over Christina engulfs him, and he fears his sanity may be slipping away. Swafford pays a visit to the brilliant signalman, a classic student from Dartmouth, and acquires a $40 canister of alcohol. Returning to his platoon for a Christmas Eve celebration, he asks O'Donnell to watch his wife for a wager. The party is in full swing until a mishap in the kitchen causes a fire. Panic ensues as the flames reach the flare crate, and the soldiers mistakenly believe it's an enemy attack. The following day, Swafford, still reeling from the revelry, vomits under the scorching sun as Sykes demotes him to a private for neglecting his watch. His new duty involves dealing with outdoor toilet waste, a far cry from his initial expectations. Frustration and disappointment pervade his military service. Swafford and O'Donnell engage in rifle assembly and disassembly, though their relationship remains strained. Swafford, simmering with anger, contemplates what it feels like to take a life and points a loaded rifle at O'Donnell, admitting his morbid curiosity. Cortez's timely departure diffuses the tension, but the ominous question lingers, unsettling the platoon. Accidentally taking a life during boot camp is a harsh reality. Swafford's anger flares when he berates O'Donnell, who failed to see the accident. He forces O'Donnell to recite the sniper code, pushing him to the edge. In a sudden fit, he orders O'Donnell to shoot him, a moment of madness. While on desert patrol, Troy confronts Swafford about the incident and demands an apology. Swafford starts, but gunshots interrupt him. Unknown silhouettes appear, and Swafford, attempting to defuse the situation, approaches them speaking in Arabic. The tense negotiations revolve around camels being shot. Back at the platoon, the soldiers discuss the event. To their surprise, Swafford speaks Arabic. The truth emerges. Fowler killed the camels for amusement, almost causing the deaths of 9 innocent civilians. Fowler shamelessly seeks attention, even impressing a passing civilian girl with his recklessness. Sykes informs the 2nd Platoon of their new mission, Operation Desert Storm, as Iraq's invasion of Kuwait unfolds. The soldiers anticipate deploying their skills in real combat. To counter the threat of toxic gas, they receive atropine pills and syringes. A waiver, acknowledging the pills' unproven nature, is required. Kruger, initially resistant, eventually complies, fearing the consequences of gas exposure. They dig sleeping holes as American fighters pass overhead. Troy argues the futility of their efforts, with the war quickly advancing elsewhere. Swafford, eager to reconcile with his spotter, is pulled aside by Sykes, who discloses that Troy concealed a criminal record. Troy's return to the U.S. promises military expulsion. Swafford is tasked with keeping an eye on Troy, concealing a secret, though Troy advises him to mind his own business. In the evening, mail arrives, including a return T-shirt from Christina, with a note professing enduring love, unsettling Swafford. He turns to Troy for support. Fellow soldiers rally around Troy, branding him with the Marine emblem in jest. The next day, the 2nd Platoon faces enemy artillery fire, taking cover. Swafford, however, stands undeterred, eager for the battle's start. Sykes sends him for signalman's batteries through the artillery barrage, but they're dead. As the Iraqis retreat, Marine jets return, and Fowler, mistakenly perceived as an enemy, prompts friendly fire, causing injuries among the troops. The chaos underscores the brutal realities of warfare. The 2nd Platoon continues their march, encountering a gruesome scene of burnt and wrecked cars, the aftermath of a U.S. fighter jet strike. Among the smoking corpses, they discover many civilians trying to escape. The sight of a small girl's lifeless body prompts a pause in their journey. Swafford separates from his platoon, facing the grim reality of the situation. Deeply disturbed, he vomits at the horrors he witnesses. As the Iraqis set oil wells ablaze, an oil rain ensues. Sykes orders them to dig in, but shifting winds force relocation. Soldiers spot Fowler digging something at a distance, leading to a shocking discovery. Fowler's was disturbing behavior with a corpse. Sykes takes Swafford aside, revealing his plan to have Fowler clean toilets upon their return to the U.S. To comfort the despondent Swafford, Sykes shares a personal revelation, an opportunity for a partnership in his brother's drywall business, promising a contented life with family. It's a choice between a peaceful existence and the horrors of war. Swafford loves his job, cherishing the unique experiences it offers. The next morning, Sykes informs Troy and Swafford that Colonel Kaczynski requested the best snipers, a recommendation Sykes wholeheartedly supports. They're tasked with eliminating 2 high-ranking Iraqi officers in a nearby control tower, with a strict order to confirm their targets. Hiding in an abandoned building, they patiently await their quarry. At last, the officers appear in the evening, their weapons ready. Troy requests permission to fire, but an unexpected airstrike order comes from Major Lincoln. Troy pleads for the shot, but the Major denies it. Troy's anguish over his lost kill is palpable, a poignant moment amidst the backdrop of military operations. Later in the evening, Swafford and Troy contemplate their return to civilian life. Troy, half-jokingly, suggests becoming a drug dealer. As they wait for their pickup, they realize something's amiss. Abandoning the plan, they head back to camp on foot. In the distance, they hear a noise and brace for potential danger, only to discover it's the U.S. military, rejoicing around a campfire in exuberant celebration. Swafford, frustrated over never firing his rifle in combat, releases a shot into the air, inspiring others to follow suit. Days later, the United States celebrates the return of their troops, and a Vietnam War veteran warmly boards the platoon's bus, expressing gratitude and offering congratulations on their hard-fought victory. After receiving undeserved praise, the soldiers feel a sense of guilt. Swafford visits Christina, but finds Carl on her doorstep, realizing he's too late. The movie then delves into the civilian lives of his friends. Fowler revels in a bar. Kruger gives a marketing presentation. Cortez enjoys family time in the park, and Escobar arranges supermarket products. But Swafford, known as Jarhead, returns to the battlefield. Days later, O'Donnell brings somber news: Troy's passing. The entire platoon attends his funeral, and the film concludes with the notion that no matter their post-service lives, building homes, loving partners, or changing diapers, a Marine will always carry the identity of a Jarhead